Welcome back to the channel, YouTube. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Today we're gonna give the Accord a little TLC. What are we gonna do today? Let me show you. So, a common issue in these 2 liters on not even just the Accords but also the Type R's is that our valve cover likes to leak a little bit in the rear. And so what we're gonna do today is replace our valve cover with a nice painted one. We painted this the other day. We sanded it, painted it, took about a couple hours of work. I really wanted the Jay's Racing one, but for $500, whereas I got this for $200 and about $50 worth of material, I just went ahead and painted it blue myself. So we're gonna install that today, and I'll probably do a video after this on how to paint your valve cover. If you guys want to see that, be sure to stay subscribed. But this install should be pretty quick. We just gotta take off the intake, a couple of bolts, remove the vacuum lines, remove the wire harness, and that should be it. Only tools you need are some 10mm, and be sure to get yourself some Bond, Honda Bond. And while we're at it, we're gonna go ahead and replace our PCV valve as well. We're at 30,000 miles, so it's around that time that you replace it. So yeah, we'll show you how to replace that as well. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna put you guys down on the tripod and just get to working. Pretty straightforward. A couple of bolts. If there's anything that comes up that requires attention, I'll let you guys know. The first thing we're gonna do is remove everything from the intake box up to this part of our intake inlet pipe. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so with most of your intake off, we're gonna go ahead and undo our coil covers. With your coil cover off, we're gonna start working on these coil packs and all the wires around it. The coil packs are held on with a 10mm. Next, what we're going to do is undo this wire harness stay here so that we can remove a lot of this wire out the way. Okay, so we just did a lot of work. So the quickest explanation that I can do is I unplugged a lot of these sensors down here that are attached to this wire harness so that I could move it up out of the way easier. And then there is a sensor and a 10mm bolt. You can see this part here. There's a 10mm bolt that holds on to this harness somewhere. I undid that, unplugged it, so that I have more room to again lift this up out of the way. So with that out of the way, the next thing we need to do is undo the vacuum line block here, and also just kind of unplug all of our hoses that run up to the valve cover, so your catch can hoses or any vacuum lines. So go ahead and do that. Alright, so with everything out the way, here comes the fun part. Removing the valve cover. So grab your 10mm and just go around the outside and undo it all. It's not going to be on there too tight. This is only like 6 foot-pounds of torque, so shouldn't have too much trouble taking it off. Alright, all the bolts are off. We can just go ahead and pry this up. There we go. Okay. Now that you've got the valve cover off, go ahead and go around the outside and clean all the oil off. And after that, we're going to scrape off the Honda bond. So first thing we're going to do is go around the outside with a shop towel and just clean up any oil that's left on here, because we want to have a good surface for our new valve cover to go on. So make sure it is clean. Okay, so once you've gotten things mostly cleaned up, we're going to go back again and clean things again later, but we need to scrape off the old Honda bond, and since it's on the head, you don't want to scratch it. So we're going to use this plastic razor blade right here to scrape off the old Honda bond and get as much of it out as possible. Be careful with this, don't drop any of it in the engine. If you do, please pick it up. You don't want to damage your engine from a piece of silicone falling in. Okay, so we cleaned up off all the Honda bonds. It was some right here, one in this back corner, which was probably the hardest to get to, and right there. What we're gonna do next is go over the surface with some isopropyl alcohol to make sure everything is completely clean. And then from the same spots that we took off the Honda bond, we're gonna reapply some Honda bond. So let's get started. Okay, now that we've got everything cleaned out, go ahead and grab our Honda bond and put it on the locations that I showed you guys earlier. A tip with Honda bond, get yourself a pair of needle nose pliers to twist the tube, because this thing comes out pretty stiff. And you don't need to use too much, just enough to cover the edges where it rises over. Okay, once you've got the Honda bond on, go ahead and grab yourself a pair of fresh gloves and slap on your valve cover. Make sure all your O-rings in the coil pack sit, and now we'll grab our new hardware and start threading them in. Going along with our new valve cover, we have these titanium valve cover bolts that we got from Chasing Jays, and they provide the instructions here for you on the order on which you torque them down to. I'll throw up a picture on the screen of the torque specs, but that's the order that you torque things in. So we're gonna go ahead and just lightly thread these on. We're not gonna torque them down just yet. So once you've got all the bolts started by hand, we're going to torque it down to 62 inch-pounds, which is about 5 foot-pounds. Remember, these are inch-pounds, so don't go too crazy on these. And here's the sequence that we're going to do the torquing in. I will toss this on the screen, but we're going to do a star pattern. So you'll see here 1, 2, 3, 4 in the middle, and then 5, 6, 7, 8 on the outside, and then the middle center ones last. This is your PCV valve. When you buy it from Honda, it will come with O-rings already. And what you're going to want to do is just lubricate the O-rings right here so that it slides in. So I just realized I didn't show you guys how to put the PCV valve back in fully, but to do it with the valve on the car, I recommend removing this, if you can get this to focus, this 10 mil bolt right there on the black piece to the right of the PCV valve. That way you're able to slide the PCV valve itself out and put the new one back in, and then just tighten them snugly. You don't need to over tighten everything. But yeah, that's about it for the valve cover install. Nothing too crazy, just take your time and then put everything back in reverse order. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that and show you guys the final result. Let's put it together. Take a look for you guys. Ooh, look at that. I wasn't 100% set on the blue with the titanium and everything, but damn, does it really go well together. Glad I went with the blue instead of the yellow I was thinking of. So now that we've got everything back together, we're gonna let this sit for at least an hour to 2 hours to let the Honda bond cure, and then we're gonna start the car up and then check for any leaks. So we're gonna check back in with you guys once we do that. Okay, it's the next morning. We've let the Honda bond dry overnight. Now let's go ahead and start the car and check for any oil leaks. Alright, no leaks all around. We're gonna let the car run for a little bit, get it up to temp, just to make sure everything seals correctly. But other than that, that is how you guys do a valve cover on your 2-liter Accord and the Civic Type Rs. Just to quickly recap, what we did was we took out the entire air box and inlet pipe so that we had better access to the front bolt here. There were 3 plugs on this harness here, one up top, one at the wastegate, and one a little further below, angled this way. And then you take out the vacuum line and the 10mm bolts holding this in so that you can move this up a little more. The sensor in there that you can unplug with and then there's a 10mm holding that sensor in. Unplug that. Unplug this gray one over here. And then undo your coil packs, and then this entire harness should be able to move up and out of the way, and you can rest it against the windshield. And then undo your vacuum line and PCV lines and this entire distribution block of vacuum hoses here. And then you should be able to get free access to the bolts that hold the valve cover on. Take it off, put your new one on, do everything in reverse on the bottom of the corners, make sure you clean that up, surface is good, and that's it. So if you found that video somewhat useful at all, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're on our way to 1,000 subscribers. And follow my Instagram at QMedia. That's where I will post some extra stuff behind the scenes and quickly answer any questions you have by sending me a DM. But other than that, our next video will either be painting our spare one or we'll be at the track, so be sure to look forward to that. So without anything else, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.